Hello everybody, today I'm watching This Disease is Deadlier Than the Plague by SocietySucks. In the thumbnail it said something about the White Death. The only thing I can really think about when I hear the White Death is the Finnish sniper who fought in the... what was it called? Just the Finnish Soviet War. Let's see what this disease is.
Hi, Steve here. Today, I'm moving over as the voice of SocietySucks for something really special. Our dearest friend John Green would like to tell you a story that's very close to his heart. So, let's hear it from him directly.
So this is going to be narrated by someone else?
Thanks so much. Let's dive right in. The White Death has haunted humanity like no other disease, following us for thousands, maybe millions of years. It was there when we tamed fire, invented culture, and ventured out of Africa to conquer the world. In 1815, it caused 1 in 4 deaths in Britain. In the last 200 years, it killed 1 billion people. Way more than all wars and natural disasters combined. Even today, it's the infectious disease with the highest kill count. But
I'm not sure what it's called exactly. In English.
We are talking about? We're talking about Mycobacterium tuberculosis.
Never mind, it's something else.
Which causes tuberculosis, or TB, our original arch-enemy. Right now, 1 in 4 humans alive are infected with the bacterium.
I'm not even sure what tuberculosis is. Tuberculosis can take an average of 7 years off the average life expectancy. You know, that's not that bad. I mean, it could be worse. Symptoms are chronic cough, fever cough with bloody mucus, weight loss. Risk factors: smoking, HIV/AIDS. I guess it's not that big of a threat.
May be one of them. So how is it possible that we never hear about TB? Well, the White Death is the perfect human predator. Very infectious, but very quiet most of the time, careful not to murder recklessly, perfectly adapted to your immune system, and just physically incredibly hard to kill. What exactly makes it so powerful? The perfect human predator. Usually, the bacterium enters your body through the airways and sets up home in the lungs, a giant living cave system.
So it mainly just affects the upper airway.
Macrophages, powerful guard cells that hunt and kill intruders. The TB bug is quickly attacked and devoured alive. Unfortunately, this is its plan. The White Death is the worst kind of parasite.
I assume this isn't too much of a problem, this disease, because I've never even heard of this.
Phagosome and flood it with acid that rips them to pieces. But TB evolved a thick, waxy coat that makes it completely immune to those acids. Worse, it captures and modifies the macrophage
for example,
to be a perfect host.
Cancer and other diseases are often talked about. Tuberculosis I've never even heard of.
TB then replicates extremely slowly.
So it takes over your cells,
microbes that make you sick
and it replicates
up to 60 times faster.
Oh, it only doubles every 18 to 24 hours. It's pretty fucking slow.
The White Death is so well adapted to you, it has already won by being here. No need to rush things. When its host cell is sucked dry and dies, the bacteria infect new macrophages. Although these bacteria are stealthy, the decaying corpses
so it doesn't take them over and use them. The cells do die after a while.
Your body knows something is up and mobilizes its forces. But once again, this is part of the plan.
Well, it can just take them over, so it really just doesn't matter.
Immune cells try to kill
your immune system is kind of useless against this.
The cell wall makes them a formidable fortress and resistant to many attacks, and it infects its attackers in the process. So when your cells can't kill them, they do the next best thing: keep the parasites from escaping. A granuloma is formed, a sort of white blob. In the center is a core of infected and dead macrophages, a pleasant home and food.
Wouldn't that be really dangerous for you?
Other immune cells surround this sphere of death to contain it, creating a safe space where TB can sit for years. Worse, it is perfectly protected from medication and releases chemicals that make it hard for your heavy immune weapons to be activated.
Use medication to kill it.
This is the stalemate version of tuberculosis. The infection is sleeping, and the bacteria is doing its thing. This is going on right now in up to 2 billion people. But in 1 in 10 of them, the disease will become active.
So I could be one of those people.
Tuberculosis is an emergency, but again, a slow one. If your immune system can't contain the infection anymore, granulomas burst. Suddenly, your lungs are filled with macrophage corpses and fresh bacteria. Your immune system panics and overreacts. Hordes of soldiers leave your blood and rush to the infected areas. They order inflammation and fluids flood into your lungs.
And
but
your lungs are
unfortunately,
fucked.
your lungs are not made to be a battlefield. In their panic, your immune cells don't care. They're running around with flamethrowers trying to purge
Yeah, your
the
immune system can
infection,
kill you
causing
just as much as it can kill
terrible
bacteria
damage.
that's entering
As
your
fluids
body.
and dead tissue amass, it becomes difficult to breathe, and you begin coughing hard, sometimes even coughing up blood. And again, this is part of the plan, because now you spread millions of
spreading it
bacteria
down.
catching rides in tiny droplets.
I'm
You
worried that
burn
I
high
have this
fever
now.
and lose weight as your body is severely stressed. You turn into a ghost version of yourself. Even if you are treated, this phase can last weeks to months and is very serious. Insufficiently treated, TB will over months, years, or even decades slowly overtake your body. Especially for children or those already weakened, this can be too much.
You know, I've
and the
always
disease
had
wins the war.
some
The
type of
bacterium spreads to
problems
other
with
organs,
breathing, or at
lung
least it
function
feels like
breaks
it,
down,
like
and
shortness
the
of
patient
breath. I'm
dies.
starting to worry that I might
1.3
have
million
tuberculosis or
people
something.
died this way in 2023 alone.
I'm actually
The worst
worried
kind
about
of
this now.
problem. Tuberculosis is the worst kind of problem, a slow one. Instead of killing millions quickly, like COVID, scaring a panicked humanity into frantic action, TB is a smoldering fire, killing too slowly for our short attention span. The symptoms are often mild for many months, so you don't feel in danger. Tuberculosis doesn't want to kill you, of course. It wants to stay alive and spread.
It's a
And to
parasite.
do this, it exploits
Basically a
human
parasite.
behavior. The people you are most likely to infect are your family and friends, co-workers, or neighbors, the people you spend a lot of time with. When COVID brought the world to a halt, the average patient infected 2 to 3 people. An active TB patient infects 5 to 15 people in a year. Most people catch it via breathing tiny droplets from a cough or sneeze. This is especially common in crowded, poorly ventilated housing or workplaces, which is why TB exploded during the Industrial Revolution. And indeed, wherever we see new, unplanned, and overcrowded
You know,
urbanization,
perhaps
from
wearing
Lagos to
masks
St.
is not a
Petersburg,
bad idea.
we tend to see a rise of the White Death alongside it. Today, most cases of active tuberculosis, the version that spreads the disease further, can be cured with a 4-month regimen of 4 different antibiotics.
Is that enough, though?
But if that's the case, how is this still the deadliest infectious disease on Earth? Between 1940 and 1965, humans developed several drugs to fight TB,
I mean,
finally
it's-
making it curable. It was a true achievement of human ingenuity, but we didn't do a great job of
Tuberculosis can hide
distributing the
itself,
cure.
basically. You
Well,
wouldn't think you
tuberculosis
have
is
it
almost
until it's
extinct
too
in
late.
much of Europe, the US, and the
So,
Middle East.
people
It is
probably don't
still
get the
a very
treatment in
real
time.
threat in most of the world. TB kills people primarily in Africa.
Hold
Tuberculosis
on.
is almost extinct in much of Europe, the US, and the Middle East.
Never
It's
mind,
still a
I'm
very
perfectly
real
fine.
threat in most of the world. TB kills people primarily in Africa, South America, and Asia. In 2022, 2/3 of all
In
TB
other words, in
cases
poorer
were in
countries.
just 6 countries: India, China, Indonesia, the Philippines, Pakistan, and Nigeria.
I mean, then again, with how many
Almost
immigrants
half
are
of all
coming to Europe,
tuberculosis deaths
I wouldn't be
happened in
surprised if it
Southeast
starts
Asia.
spreading here as well.
But as it is a slow problem like climate change, it was ignored instead of fought aggressively, which enabled more and more strains of TB to develop antibiotic resistance. Which is a problem because we kinda stopped making new drugs. In the first 25 years
Oh?
of the antibiotic era, we developed 8 different classes of drugs to treat TB. And then, in the 47 years between 1965 and 2012, we developed none. Developing
Why
new
would
drugs
you
is
do that,
extremely
though?
expensive,
This
and
is
there was
still
no
active and
concentrated effort
dangerous.
to eradicate TB, and there simply wasn't enough profit incentive.
Ah,
There is a
money,
vaccine,
as
but
usual.
it's over 100 years old and not particularly effective. But beginning in 2012, we did finally develop 2 new classes of drugs that
Now
treat
mine.
TB, and we may finally be at an inflection point again.
Yeah, that
as
kind
better
of sucks.
vaccines are on the
If a
horizon.
disease
Companies that made
costs too
COVID
much,
tests also developed a quick test
they're,
for TB.
they're not going to make cures
So
for
we
it
now have
if
a
the cures
real
cost too
opportunity
much.
to push this disease back until
Because
it
if it's not
dies
profitable,
forever.
they
But
can't
only if we get
really
enough people
afford
to
to
know
do it.
about TB, like you do
That sucks.
now, and to care about it. A century ago in the United States, there were almost as many hospital beds for TB patients as for treating all other illnesses and injuries combined.
Everything
the White
else
Death
combined.
was a leading cause of death in
Wow.
the US, and then one day, it just wasn't anymore. And we can do this again.
That does
4,000
not mean
people
it
died of
can't come back, though.
tuberculosis yesterday. And we simply don't have to accept a world where so many of us still die of a disease we know how to cure. The White Death has been with us for millions of years. It is time to continue our journey without it. If you want to learn more about tuberculosis,
I would have imagined that. Okay, so Europe and North America, with the exception of Mexico and other Latin American countries, being mostly cured from this, that makes perfect sense, obviously. But I would have imagined that China and India would also be getting cured from it, at least recently, because, well, let's be honest, China and India, they've been developing well economically and technologically as well, so I would have assumed that they would also be curing this disease just as aggressively as Europeans and North Americans did, but I guess that's just not the case. I mean, Africa is obviously going to be a problem with it. That's just not going to change. South America and Asia, though, that was surprising. I would have expected them to at least put more of an effort into it. I know that those countries are poorer than the West, but they're not that poor. I don't know. I guess it just has to do with, in South America, it probably just has to do with all the corruption, because there is a lot of it in South America. In Asia, well, India's not exactly the best when it comes to caring about its people. When you look at the fact that, I think India still has a caste system, then there's the fact that a lot of people live in the, what is it called, slums, I think. The living conditions are just terrible, diseases are rampant there. The fact people bathe in, like, the, what was that river called? The Gandhi, I think, or something like that, which is full of diseases, because I'm pretty sure people dump trash in that, and yeah, that's just not good. Well, I mean, I live in Europe, I don't have to worry about it, so who cares, I guess. Hopefully the rest of the world can catch up and also cure it, get rid of it, possibly permanently, or at least reduce it to a point where it's basically non-existent, just like the Black Death, or whatever that was called. I mean, it's commonly known as the Black Death, so I'm just going to call it that. It still exists. The Black Death is still a thing. I mean, people still get infected with it every year, last I checked at least. It's just that it's not really much of a danger anymore. So, tuberculosis could be the exact same. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Leave a like, subscribe, comment. The link to my Discord server is down in the description below, so check that out if you want. And I will see you in the next video.